If you follow our channel, then you know that every town has its mysteries. And on the night of March 2nd of 1998, one of them started in Albany, New York that has lasted for decades. It is the mysterious disappearance of Suzanne Lyall. 19-year-old Suzanne was a college sophomore with a promising future in tech. She was a bit on the quiet side and had a real passion for computers, so that's what she was studying at Suny Albany when she vanished without a trace. And the school has an expansive campus and diverse student body, and Suzanne, standing 5'3" with long reddish-brown hair and blue eyes, was just one of around 17,000 students who attended each year. By conventional standards, her life was normal. She understood that the online world was the future, and liked to spend lots of time in chat rooms and exploring how people were now coming together and getting connected at the drop of a keystroke through the World Wide Web. She had a close relationship with her family and boyfriend, Richard Condon. As the youngest child, her parents Doug and Mary were deeply involved in her life, speaking to her almost every single day. So on the day that she just up and vanished, it was a terrifying revelation for a lot of people. Not just her loved ones and friends, but the entire community of Albany, as this is not something that is supposed to just happen, especially to someone like Suzanne. On March 2nd of 1998, when she attended her classes, took a midterm exam, and worked her shift at Babbage's, which is a software retailer at the Cross Gates Mall until closing time at 9 p.m. Once her shift was done, she boarded a Capital District Transportation Authority bus, headed back to the Suny Albany campus. According to classmates and witnesses, Suzanne got off that bus at Collins Circle around 9:45 p.m., just a short walk away from her dorm in the Colonial Quad. And this was the last confirmed sighting ever of Suzanne. The following morning, her absence became apparent as her loved ones noticed a break in her daily patterns. When Suzanne failed to call or email her boyfriend Richard, as she usually did, he became concerned and reached out to her parents. And Doug and Mary, also unable to reach her, immediately reported her missing to the campus police. Initially, as is the case whenever a young adult is reported missing, the authorities thought Suzanne might have taken a short trip without informing anyone. After all, statistically, that's more likely than someone taking her. However, her parents insisted this was simply not something she would do. And they knew something was wrong right away, and so they pressed the matter. And a day later, campus police, the New York State Police, and numerous volunteers launched an extensive effort to find her. And that's when they discovered that she had gotten off that bus, and so they spread out from there. No significant clues were found in the first few days, usually the most important window of opportunity for solving a crime, other than her name tag from work. And that was pulled from a shallow puddle near the Collins Circle bus stop. And what was really strange from the jump was that while many people saw Suzanne get off that bus near campus, no one saw any sketchy person hanging around or any sort of confrontation between her and a potential attacker. And so, is it possible she just got off that bus and decided to leave her life behind on her own accord? Well, her dorm room showed no signs of a disturbance. All her belongings were intact, and there were no indications that she had planned to leave. The authorities then dug deeper, scrutinizing her daily routine and looking over her computer activity. And that's when a new, critical piece of evidence emerged. Suzanne's debit card had been used at a convenience store ATM nearby around 4 p.m. on March 3rd, the day after her disappearance. And they took out just $20, and this person who withdrew the money somehow knew Suzanne's PIN. But the face of the suspect was not to be found on the surveillance footage. The store had cameras, but none were directed right at the ATM, only the cashier. All they knew for certain was that Suzanne did not enter that store, and so now the mystery grew deeper. And further complicating everything was the conflicting accounts from Suzanne's friends and acquaintances. Now, some mentioned she'd said she'd felt like she was being watched, while others noted she had seemed distracted in the days leading up to her disappearance. But even with these insights, no clear suspects ever emerged. Among the individuals scrutinized was, of course, Suzanne's boyfriend, Richard Condon. Initially cooperative, Richard later refused to take a lie detector test and stopped cooperating with the police altogether. Although he had a verified alibi for the night of her disappearance, his behavior started to raise suspicions. However, with no concrete evidence linking him to this situation, the police had no justifiable reason to pursue him as a suspect. The lack of physical evidence and eyewitnesses made this whole case particularly challenging. The discovery of her name tag, the use of her ATM card, and her strange proclamations and behavior leading up to March 2nd together caused only confusion. As time passed, the investigation transitioned from an active search to a methodical review of the evidence in the hope that surely something useful was yet unseen. The New York State Police took over the case, but despite their resources and expertise, the mystery of Suzanne Lyall's disappearance remains unsolved to this day. Now, some people think that Suzanne was abducted after getting off the bus, even if no one saw it. It was a co-worker who mentioned that she had felt like she was being watched, though she did not seem afraid of the would-be stalker. And this theory suggests she might have been taken by someone who knew her routine and possibly rode the bus with her that very night. The discovery of her name tag near the bus stop loosely supports this theory. Richard Condon still remains a strong person of interest. Although he had an alibi for the night of her disappearance, his later refusal to cooperate with the police raised suspicions. The fact that nothing was out of place in her dorm and no one saw anything particularly frantic outside means that maybe he lured her away and did something to her. Although he was the one that called her parents the morning after she went missing, so why would he then go to that ATM that afternoon just to withdraw $20 and risk being caught? Another scary theory involves Israel Keyes, a notorious serial killer who traveled the country, known for his meticulous planning and random victim selection. And some investigators believe Suzanne might have been one of his victims, as her name was eventually found on Keyes' computer, among other missing persons cases. However, there is no concrete evidence linking Keyes to her disappearance, and proving he was in Albany during the time of the vanishing is flimsy at best. In the wake of their daughter gone missing, Doug and Mary became tireless advocates for missing persons. They founded the Center for Hope, an organization dedicated to supporting families of missing individuals and advocating for improved laws related to missing persons cases. And the Lyall's activism has brought about significant changes in how missing persons cases are handled. In 2003, President George W. Bush signed the PROTECT Act, which included provisions for Suzanne's law. And this law increased the age for mandatory reporting of missing persons to 21 to the National Crime Information Center, ensuring that college students like Suzanne receive the same level of attention and resources as younger children. And today, 26 years later, the investigation into Lyall's disappearance remains open. The New York State Police continue to follow up on leads. The case has been featured on several true crime shows. And public interest in the case remains high, with many still offering theories and potential leads. The annual vigils held in Suzanne's memory draw significant community support as the mystery of what happened continues to captivate and haunt all those who hear her story. So there was the mysterious disappearance of Suzanne Lyall. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you want more darker content, go check us out on Patreon. It's free to try, and there's an entire library of strange stories you can dig into, plus new ones coming out each week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.